Hey, there's a quick video today, but I mentioned in my Mode Envoy video a couple weeks ago that I was waiting on a set of group by switches and group by caps that I wanted to build the keyboard out in originally, but they hadn't arrived. So good news, they've arrived. So I'm gonna go and swap out the caps and swap out the switches. And then I guess that'll be the completed form of my Mode Envoy. So I picked up the Wuche Studio Stellar keycaps, which I think most, let's say, stargazers would really appreciate. So I picked up just the keycaps and the novelties and the blue rose linear switches. But the group I actually kind of includes like a bunch of other things that I didn't pick up, though I kind of wish I had. You can pick up a spacebar kit if you have a layout with unique spacebars. There's also this artisan keycap, which I think looks really cool. It's an anodized aluminum keycap, so it's got like a really good, weight to it. I kind of wanted it, but I just couldn't. I just didn't. I was trying to save money. You know how it is when it comes to keyboards. I picked up the blue rose switches just because I'm a bigger fan of linear switches, but there is the nightfall switches, which are a tactile. So if you're more of a tactile person, you might have wanted to pick those up. And then there is the desk mat, which is let's call it a familiar design. And I do want like a new desk mat, but I figured I would just stick to the basics. So just the keycaps, novelties, and some switches. Now the keycaps themselves are double shot PBT, so they should last a long time and they should be a little more resistant to shine. You should have enough keycaps in this base set to cover most layouts, so 65%, and even stuff like AOS layouts. If you have a split keyboard layout, you have 2 B keys, that kind of thing. You also have a full set of numpad keys if your keyboard still has a numpad. So unless you're using like a pretty wacky layout, anything more than like 104 keys, like a 200%, you're gonna be covered. All right, moving on to the switches. These are the blue rose switches. They're actually a yellow switch recolor. So if you already have a Wuche Studio yellow linear switch, this is gonna be the same thing, but just in a different color. The top and bottom housing are both nylon, and the stem is palm. It's a 22 millimeter double stage spring. So that should give you, I think, a pretty satisfying typing feel. The bottom mount force on these switches is 53 grams, and they're 5-pin switches. The switches are pre-lubed from the factory, so if you don't want to lube your switches, I don't think you need to. They are really smooth. You can pretty much throw these in as they are, and I think you're gonna have a pretty good typing experience. The novelty keys come with, I would say, your standard night sky imagery. You have like, a comet, some star designs here. You have a crown and a microphone and a kind of like comet shooting star looking design that could be like flowing ribbons that would maybe look good on a hat, and Ringo juice. All the typical night sky imagery. So this is my Envoy right now, just the same as it was from a few weeks ago. To be honest, it's actually kind of grown on me a little bit, like the Mirage colorway for the case, like the blue-gray kind of look, actually goes pretty well with the Synthwave GMK laser. But, I've been waiting for Stellar for like a while now, so let's go ahead and throw this on and let's see how it looks. All right, so these are the caps. This is it. This is WS Stellar on the Mode Envoy. This is the config that I originally wanted. So when I was pre-ordering my Envoy, I was like, what caps do I want? What switches do I want? And I thought I would really like this combination. And here it is. This is it. This is a very, how do I put it? A very Comet-inspired keycap set. And I think most stargazers would really enjoy having this keycap set on their keyboard, regardless of what it is, if it's a Mode Envoy or any other keyboard. I think if you're a big fan of our Starry Night Sky, you'd probably really like this. As for how they sound, they're like a double shot PBT keycap set, so they do sound pretty good. They do have a really decent clack to them. Depending on what board you have, what materials you have in your board, you're obviously going to get a different sound. But the switches themselves are really smooth feeling. I really like that linear feel. For being a pre-loop switch, they are really good. I mean, I like the feel personally, but obviously, you know, the keyboard hobby is completely up to preference. So maybe you want like a shorter spring, maybe you want a tactile switch, it's all up to you. But, you know, I think if you're a fan of linears, you probably would like these. They're a really nice feeling. They have just the right amount of resistance, I think. All right, well, that's pretty much it. I said I would do another video when my keycap set came in, and they came in. So this is it. This is the Mode Envoy that I wanted all along. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like the keycap set? Are you also a Hoshiyomi, and are you planning on trying to pick this up if you still can? If your local vendor has a bunch of extras, you can maybe get a set, but obviously no guarantees. I had to go through Yusha Kobo because they're the group buy vendor for Japan, and they finally shipped. So, well, if you want to see or hear a typing test for the keycaps and the switches, I'll leave it at the end of the video. I don't think it'll change too much from my previous one. It's more or less the same board, but you know, if you're curious, it'll be there. As I mentioned before, I don't do a lot of keyboard videos. I mainly just do, I don't know, I just do a bunch of random stuff, like mostly Japan vlogs or whatever. So if you want to check some of those out, they'll be in the channel. Just click like my name down here or whatever, and you'll be greeted to a whole page of them. Either way, I hope you like this video. I like doing keyboard stuff. I just don't do it all too often. But you know what? If you want to subscribe for more stuff like this or more vlogs or whatever, feel free. I would really appreciate it. But either way, I hope you have a really fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching this far. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you later. Take care. Peace.